Alright guys, so here I'm going to show you how to use the group foot method to use, we're going to make the basic one. I'm going to show you how to set it up and what to look out for when you're using the group foot method. Let me turn show all for Hotbox here. And so from the side view, let's go ahead and just make the foot initially. Actually, let's do from the front. Let me show you how the legs are connected to the rest of the spine. And probably don't need that one guy. I'll delete him for now. Alright, so let's take a look here. We have our root joint, which controls the rest of the spine. What we need is our legs coming off from this side. Now, one of the more important parts of a character are its hips, to be able to show shifting of weight and so forth. The root is a big part of it, and it's the main part which allows you to move your character and rotate. You can even rotate that, but the hips can counter it to actually really complement and get some realistic movement in your character. That's very important. So what we can do is click right at the root and go away from the root, just one, and this now determines that we have hips. Now what we need to do is actually make the leg. So I'm going to click where we left off, and then click right here where the leg joint will come into the body. You can see that on the geometry. So we're using Melvin as our guinea pig for this one. I'm going to switch my view to the side, and we can always push this forward too if we need to, so let me do that so you won't get too confused. So we'll just move that forward just a little bit there. And now, go back into the leg. Click on the top of the leg where we started. Sorry, my allergies bug me a little bit today. So I'm going to go in here and click once on the knee. Now I could stop on that knee. Let's go a little bit lower though. I could stop on that knee, but I'm going to actually try and get a little bit more better definition for the knee. Now a lot of people, when they make the knee, they just do one single bone. Doing two actually is kind of nice because you can get that kind of kneecap kind of effect. Oops, my bad. I drug a little bit. I meant to hit Alt. So now we can go down here and click on the ankle, and then I can click on the heel, and then finally the toe. So I have a double knee. So let's lower our joint size for a second here. It looks like it's a little bit heavy. So let's make it a little bit less thick there. There we go. Better to look at. So now we see that we have a leg, and we also have the double knee. And let me show you how this is going to bend. So once you have your knee set up, you want to go in here and name your joint. So we can call this our left knee joint if we want to. You can just say left leg, works good. And then we'll go to left kneecap top and left kneecap bottom. And we just copy that. Go to left ankle. Let me get my virus scan, which seems to be popping up a lot today. There we go. Left ball. And left toe. There we go. So we got these all set up here. So we're just mainly going to do one foot so you can follow along. So you see I have the hips here, then I have the leg, and it goes all the way down. So now let's go and make an IK for it. So I'm going to double click on the IK tool. Make sure it's RP Solver. And the reason why you want to use RP Solver when it comes to a human being is that you can get that nice rotate plane. RP stands for rotate plane. What rotate plane allows you to have is a pole vector. Everyone has a pole vector. It allows you to do all these kind of exaggerated movements, to move your knee, to pivot in your knee back and forth. Say your character was putting out a cigarette, or your character was squishing a bug, character was skiing. It allows you to get that nice rotation going on for your character that you're rigging. So now we'll use RP Solver. We'll click on the top of the hips, and we'll click on the ankle. We have that all set up and ready to go. And we'll double click on the IK tool again, but this time I'm going to switch it to SC. This is single chain. This does not require a pole vector. It's good for robotic characters, characters you don't need to be really organic. And from here I can go to my ankle, to the ball, and then we'll do another one. We'll go from the ball to the toe. There we go. So now we have this all set up, all ready to go. So let's go and name it so we don't get confused. So we'll call this left ankle IK. Really important to name and be organized when it comes to rigging. If you are not organized with your stuff, you're going to hate yourself later on, trust me. And then we'll finally have toe. There we go. So we got left, ball, ankle, toe. Now, a lot of you guys probably got introduced to the inverse foot, which I will show you later on. We're not going to go over it just yet, but I will show you later on how to do it. I'm just going to move that leg over just a little bit. But in this one, I'm going to show you the group method, because the group method is actually really nice. You get some nice organization. You don't need a secondary bone. If you have multiple characters, it keeps things pretty clean, pretty streamlined, and easy to look at. So it's pretty much up to the user whether they want the bone system for the inverse foot, or they want to use the group method to get your foot to bend in a nice rolling manner. So inverse foot does the rolling, ball rolling, and the foot, as well as the group method. The group method is just a little cleaner and easier to look at. And I actually like it. Once I was introduced to it, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I really like it a lot. So what we're going to do is going to separate these systems. Now, normally inverse foot separates it per bone system and parenting order. What we're going to do is use a group system and use a parenting order. It will imitate exactly what the inverse foot does. And we're going to do the basic one, and I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment where they're going to do one a little bit more complicated, where it's a matter of just having another group, like another extra group in the system to be able to get that extra movement. So here, let's look at our outliner here and what we have. We can ignore all that other stuff, but here we have our bone. Let's see if the names had changed here. Oh, it looks like I didn't want to change the names. I could have swore I changed it, but we'll just do it again. Looks like it changed up. There we go. It's funny. Looks like, oh, that's because it's looking at the spine. Cool. So we got it. We're good. It's just in the chain and so forth. So now we have our legs set up and ready to go. So let's go ahead and make some groups. So I'm going to make some ghosted groups. I'm going to make groups floating in space, so you can follow on a little bit easier, because it can get a little bit crazy. Be careful of these transform nodes. These guys pop up every once in a while, and they can be a pain in the butt and cause things to crash. The best thing to do is just get rid of them if you can. If they have geometry or stuff underneath it, you're going to have to unparent to get them to be left alone. So now, with everything deselected, I'm going to go to Create. I'm going to go to, sorry about that. We'll go to Edit. We'll go to Group. Let's give this group a name. And we will call this one the left ball group. Okay, so that'll be our left ball group. You can even call it pivot if you want to. You can call it left foot lift if you want to. It's whatever works for you. Actually, this one, you do, if it is on the ball, you do want to try to have ball in the name. But whatever you do, whatever you name it, make sure you remember what it is. We'll do another one. This one will be ankle group, left ankle group. So we'll go group. And you don't have to do it this way. I'm deselecting because it's less confusing for everybody. So we'll do this left ankle. And finally, we'll do the toe, left toe group. There we go. So each one of these are all set up and ready to go. Left ball group, left ankle group, left toe group. But what we need to do is put these guys in the right position. So left ball group, toe group is going to be at the toe. So let's keep my finger on the V key and snap him right at the toe. He's the guy that's pretty consistent. Doesn't really change when it comes to the simple system. Now the left ankle group, this guy needs to go to the ball. So he doesn't go to the ankle, he actually goes to the ball. This allows us to get that secondary motion, some really nice layout. So I'm keep my finger on the V key, And I'm going to snap the ankle to the ball, grab the ball group, and keep my finger on the V key and snap him to the ankle. So these guys are actually switching positions. Ankle goes to the ball, and ball goes to ankle. So they're completely switched. So we need to actually put the appropriate IK underneath these groups. So what you can do, you can have your outliner on as you work. I can simply just middle mouse drag the left toe and put that under the left toe group, because he's pretty consistent. He doesn't really change in this particular system. In the other system, you'll notice things get a little bit switched around, the more complicated one, which is your homework, and you'll have an extra rotation, because this one now it's based on translation. You'll notice you'll have a rotation in the complicated or a little bit more complicated group method. All it is an extra group, so don't let it intimidate you, but I do want you guys to try it. I'll give you a tutorial on it. But this is pretty much the simple layout. Some of you guys might have, or just use a simple layout, may not have a complicated layout. So this is here so you can really understand the system and actually how nice it is. So we moved the IK toe to the toe group. Now we need to move the ankle and the ball group. Okay. So I'm going to grab the ankle IK. I'm going to put that underneath the ball group. Just middle mouse dragging. Left ball IK, move that underneath the ball group. And then now you're going to grab the ball group and move that under ankle. There you go. And let me show you what this does. Now you can now from this point make a controller, and you can create a set-driven key system, and I'll show you that in class. Set-driven key allows you to make an attribute here that runs something in our scene here. It allows it to move and so forth. But literally, let me show you what it has done. I can grab the ankle. Watch this. Grab the ankle IK. And I can rotate it, and you can see, look at that. We get like a nice push off. See that right there? That's pretty much what that's done. That's pretty cool. It's locked it down. The group method has allowed things to get locked down. I can grab the left toe group. Now if I rotate it, it's not going to do anything. But in this simple setup, you can translate and get a little toe wiggle going on. See that? Kind of cool. And I can also go in here, grab the ball group, and watch this when I rotate. You can get a nice little push off. See it right there? Push off that system there. So it's pretty cool. Now to do the set-driven key, I'll do this pretty simple. I'll just do one, so you can understand how it works. Keep my finger on the V key and snap the controller to the foot. Now anytime you make a controller, you have to go in here and freeze transforms. All right? We're going to make an attribute. So what we're going to do is when we make an attribute, it allows us to go in here and to have text or numbers using Maya's numbers, either default or our own, to be able to drive an object in the scene. So we can go in here and open up and create our attributes. So we're going to create one. Now creating an attribute is actually kind of nice, because when you do make an attribute, you can set things up to really be able to allow the user to customize things. So this is really nice, and Maya has that. We're going to go into Modify, add an attribute, pop that up. We're going to give it a name. We'll call this foot roll. And you want to name it appropriately. If it helps you, just call left foot and say ankle. So this would be like an ankle control. Leave it on float. We can have a minimum of, let's say, -10 if you want, or you can just ground it and just say, hey man, my minimum is going to be 0. I only want it to go in one direction. That's where it's good. And maximum can be 10. And your default, the resting, is what that means. You can put 0. And you hit OK. There we go, left foot ankle. See that? Kind of cool. But now we need to go in here and we need to do our little set-driven key system. So the set-driven key is going to allow us to go in here and connect these guys. So we go set-driven key, we open it up, get a little interface. The driver is the controller attribute which we created. So we're going to load the driver, which is the controller. Grab the controller, load the driver, see your attribute. Sweet! It's right there. So the driven is what's going to be caused to be moved. That's going to be linked to this left foot ankle. What do we want to link that left foot ankle to? Well, obviously we want to link it to the left foot ankle, right? So let's go to that group, a left foot ankle group, and we're going to load driven. There we go. It's right there. Now Maya is waiting for instructions. It knows what the direct connection is, but it also wants to know what the rotation is. Like we have a lot of customization here. So we can test it out if we want to in the beginning. What is the rotation? We're going to rotate on the X. See that? So I'm going to click on the rotate X. And it says key. So we can key this at default. But how do we know it's a default? Because we punch in those numbers. Default is 0. So we know right now it is 0. So I can hit key. It is keyed. You'll see it highlighted so that there's a link. Now I can go in here into Maya. I'm going to grab that ankle group again. Actually, not yet. Let's go to the controller first. Let's go to the controller. We're going to punch in 10. And enter. And then now we're going to go to that ankle group. And we're going to rotate it. So now we punch in the number, and Maya's waiting for the final key to know what happens when that's set to 10. So now we need to tell it. We're spoon feeding Maya. I'm going to rotate that. That means I'm telling Maya, hey, when that's 10, this is rotated. And we hit key. So now if we go back into our controller, you'll see this is really cool. Check it out. We can rotate this. You see that movement right there? Very nice. Look at that. So what you guys are going to do is link a whole system based on this set-driven key and getting these attributes using the group method all connected together. And I want you guys to get a little taste of it. Now, I know a lot of teachers don't really teach the group method. I'm one of the few out of all the colleges I teach at. But I'm telling you, the group method is really nice. I think it's nice and clean, keeps things easier to look at, and is actually pretty simple, believe it or not. Alright, that's about it with this video. And I will see you on the dark side of 3D.